Feeling overwhelmed by clutter? You're not alone. Ever walk into a room and instantly feel weighed down by possessions you rarely use? It's a common experience. Research indicates that excessive clutter can amplify stress levels, complicate everyday tasks, and even contribute to feelings of anxiety and forgetfulness, particularly as we get older. The good news? You don't have to declutter everything at once. Let's talk about Margaret. She spent the last 35 years in her beloved home, filling it with cherished mementos, keepsakes, and items she thought might be useful down the road. However, lately, her home feels more like a crowded storage unit than a tranquil haven. Her closets are overflowing, her drawers refuse to close, and every surface seems to be covered with items she intended to organize, but never got around to. Margaret's situation is far from unique. Many individuals in their golden years find themselves surrounded by items they no longer need, but struggle to discard. It's not just about the physical objects. It's about the memories they evoke, the "what if I need this later?" anxieties, and the fear that downsizing equates to giving up something valuable. But what if decluttering could actually lead to greater tranquility, increased space, and even enhanced happiness? That's precisely what Margaret desires. To simplify her home so she can truly enjoy it once more. But where does she even begin? That's where this guide comes in handy. We'll walk through each room, providing clear guidance on what items to part with, first to create a lighter, more serene home environment. And don't worry, you don't need to do it all in one fell swoop. Small, manageable steps can make a world of difference. Does Margaret's experience resonate with you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're ready to reclaim your space, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more practical tips on making life after 60 easier, healthier, and more fulfilling. Now, let's dive in. Margaret begins in her living room, the central hub of her home. It's where she unwinds, enjoys a good book, and welcomes visitors. However, lately, it feels cramped and cluttered, rather than comfortable and inviting. Sound familiar? If so, here's where to start decluttering. Old magazines and newspapers. Margaret enjoys perusing magazines while sipping her morning tea. Over time, however, they've accumulated on her coffee table, bookshelves, and even on a chair in the corner. Some are over a year old. The problem? Magazines and newspapers collect dust, consume valuable space, and often remain unread. If they're older than 6 months, it's time to recycle them. If Margaret comes across an article or recipe she loves, she snaps a picture with her smartphone and saves it digitally. Be honest. Do you have piles of old newspapers and magazines lying around? Let us know in the comments. Worn-out throw pillows. Throw pillows are designed to add color, comfort, and personality to a space. But over time, they lose their shape and start to look tired. Margaret's sofa is adorned with throw pillows that are faded, misshapen, and even have a few stains. Instead of making the space cozy, they give it a cluttered and worn-out feel. Here's a good rule of thumb. If your throw pillows have lost their form, are faded, or you haven't used them in recent years, consider replacing or donating them. Margaret swaps out some of her old pillows for new ones that are fresh, plush, and complement her decor. Instant improvement. Excess decorative items. Throughout her life, Margaret has accumulated a variety of souvenirs, trinkets, and decorative pieces. Each one holds a special memory, but collectively, they create a cluttered and overwhelming space. Too many small items make dusting a chore and can make the room feel chaotic rather than relaxing. Instead of keeping everything, Margaret asks herself, does this item truly bring me joy? Would I miss it if it were gone? Does this item contribute to a peaceful or cluttered atmosphere? She selects a few favorite decorative items, such as a cherished family portrait and a vase from her travels, and stores or donates the rest. Now her shelves and tables feel open, airy, and intentional. Give this a try. Take a quick scan of your living room. Is there a shelf, table, or surface covered in small decorative items? Challenge yourself to remove half of them and see how much more spacious your room feels. Unused furniture. Margaret's living room includes an armchair that is never occupied. There's also a side table buried under a pile of unopened mail, a defunct lamp that no longer functions, and a large entertainment center that she hasn't used in years. Unnecessary furniture not only takes up space, but also makes your home more difficult to navigate. As we age, a cluttered room can present safety risks, increasing the likelihood of trips and falls. Margaret decides to remove or repurpose the furniture she no longer needs. The result? More open space, easier movement, and a cleaner, more welcoming atmosphere. Ask yourself, do you have a chair, table, or other piece of furniture that simply gathers dust? If so, it may be time to let it go. Margaret's living room already feels more spacious and inviting, but the biggest clutter culprit is lurking in the kitchen, and some of it could even pose a health risk. Stay tuned. The next section may surprise you. Following the decluttering of her living room, Margaret turns her attention to the kitchen, the heart of her home. However, instead of feeling inspired to cook, she feels frustrated. The cabinets are overflowing, the drawers are difficult to close, and finding the right lid for a container feels like a treasure hunt. Sound familiar? The reality is that a cluttered kitchen makes cooking a stressful experience. It's harder to find the ingredients and tools you need, clean up efficiently, and enjoy the space. So, let's simplify. Margaret begins by clearing out 4 common offenders that are consuming unnecessary space. Expired pantry. Items. Margaret opens her pantry and begins checking expiration dates. Cans, jars and boxes that have been sitting there for years suddenly become noticeable. That can of soup expired 2 years ago. The old bag of flour is long past its prime. Here's the truth. Most pantries contain items that are expired, stale, or simply never used. Holding onto them only occupies valuable space. Solution. Check expiration dates and discard anything that has gone bad. Donate unopened, non-expired food that you won't use to a local food bank. Organize items by category so you can easily see what you have on hand. Go ahead, check a few dates in your pantry right now. Did you find anything expired? Share your discoveries in the comments below. Mismatched food containers. Margaret's kitchen drawers are overflowing with plastic containers, but there's a problem. Half of them are missing lids, some have cracks, others are stained, and a few have warped from being microwaved. It's frustrating every time she tries to pack leftovers. If you have containers without matching lids, or lids without matching bottoms, it's time to let them go. Decluttering tip: match each container with its lid. If there's no match, toss it. Get rid of old, stained or cracked containers. Stick to a few versatile sizes that stack easily. Margaret reduces her collection to a few high-quality matching sets, making storage simple and meal preparation stress-free. Excess mugs and cups. Margaret opens a cabinet and sees a mountain of mugs. She doesn't even drink coffee, yet she has over 20 mugs collected from trips, gifts, and events. The issue? She only ever uses 3. Sound familiar? Mugs and cups tend to accumulate over time, but keeping too many only adds to the kitchen clutter. Margaret sorts through them and keeps only her favorites, the ones she truly enjoys using. The rest, donated or repurposed. Try this. Take a look at your mug collection. How many do you actually use? Challenge yourself to cut it in half. Old cookware. Margaret's pots and pans have definitely seen better days. The non-stick pan has more scratches than coating, and the old baking sheet is warped and showing signs of rust. Worn-out cookware isn't just frustrating to use, it can also pose a health risk. Scratched non-stick surfaces can release potentially harmful chemicals, and warped or rusty pans don't cook food evenly. How to declutter cookware? Toss anything with deep scratches, rust, or peeling non-stick coating. Keep only the pots and pans you actually use. Invest in 1 or 2 high-quality pieces, rather than holding on to a dozen worn-out ones. Margaret keeps her favorite frying pan, a reliable saucepan, and a sturdy baking sheet. Everything else, gone. Her cabinets are suddenly much easier to navigate. Which kitchen item do you find most difficult to part with? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Margaret's kitchen already feels more manageable, but the next room, that's where clutter really tends to accumulate, and it can quickly become overwhelming. Let's head to the bedroom. Margaret moves into her bedroom, hoping to find a sense of tranquility, but instead, it feels cramped and disorganized. Closets are overflowing, shoes are scattered about, and the nightstand is piled high with miscellaneous items. Your bedroom should be a haven for relaxation, not a storage space. If clutter is creeping in, it's time to clear the space and create a sanctuary for better sleep and peace of mind. Clothes that don't fit or aren't worn. Margaret opens her closet and sees rows of clothing she hasn't touched in years. Some items are too tight, some are outdated, and others she simply no longer loves. But still, they remain, just in case. Here's the reality. If you haven't worn something in a year, you probably won't. Holding on to clothes out of guilt or what-if scenarios only makes it harder to find the ones you actually enjoy wearing. Decluttering tip. Try the hanger trick. Turn all your hangers backward. After wearing an item, put it back with the hanger facing forward. After 6 months, anything still hanging on a backward hanger should go. Donate good condition clothes to charities or shelters. Keep only the items that fit well, flatter your figure, and make you feel good about yourself. Be honest. How many unworn clothes are currently hanging in your closet? Tell us in the comments. Worn out. Bedding. Margaret pulls back the sheets and notices that her pillows are lumpy and her sheets are getting thin. Over time, bedding wears out and can even harbour dust mites and allergens. For better sleep and a fresher feel, it's worth replacing old bedding. Replace pillows every 1 to 2 years for optimal support and hygiene. If your sheets are pilling, tearing, or feel scratchy, upgrade to a fresh set. Declutter excess blankets. Keep only what you actually use. Margaret swaps out her worn-out bedding for a crisp, comfortable set. The result? An instantly more inviting and restful space. Excess shoes. Margaret glances at the pile of shoes in her closet. Heels she never wears, sneakers that pinch her toes, sandals with broken straps. Sound familiar? Shoes that hurt, don't fit, or simply gather dust aren't worth keeping. Decluttering tip. Keep comfortable, supportive shoes that you actually wear. Get rid of shoes that cause discomfort or have seen better days. Donate good condition pairs to those in need. Margaret keeps only a few pairs of her everyday favourites, and suddenly finding the right shoes is effortless. Costume jewellery. You never wear. Jewellery boxes can be a hidden source of clutter. Margaret finds pieces she bought on a whim, old costume jewellery that has tarnished, and gifts she never really liked. instead of holding on to jewelry, simply because. Keep only the special and meaningful pieces. If you never wear it, let it go. Pass down sentimental pieces to family members who would appreciate them. Donate or recycle broken or outdated pieces. Margaret keeps her favorite sentimental pieces and donates the rest, making her jewelry box feel organized and intentional. With her bedroom finally clutter-free, Margaret feels a greater sense of peace. But the next space, that's where clutter really creeps up on you, and it can quickly become overwhelming. Let's talk about paper clutter. Margaret enters her home office, expecting to do a bit of light decluttering, only to be confronted with overflowing file folders, tangled cords, and a drawer filled with dried-up pens. Paper clutter and forgotten gadgets are some of the trickiest items to let go of, but they accumulate faster than we realize. A clutter-free workspace translates to less stress, improved focus, and more room to enjoy the things that truly matter. Old bills and paperwork. Margaret sifts through stacks of old utility bills, bank statements, and outdated documents, most of which she hasn't touched in years. Here's the truth. Most paperwork doesn't need to occupy physical space in your home. Digitize important documents. Scan them and store them securely. Shred old bills and sensitive paperwork that no longer serve a purpose. Keep only the essentials. Tax records, legal documents, and medical records. What's the oldest piece of paperwork you've discovered lying around? Share your stories in the comments. Outdated electronics and cords. Margaret opens a drawer and finds a tangled mess of mystery cables, an old flip phone, and a charger for a device she doesn't even own anymore. If you don't know what something belongs to, you likely don't need it. Match every cord to a device. If you can't identify its purpose, it's clutter. Recycle or donate old electronics instead of letting them gather dust. Utilize labeled organizers to store only the necessary chargers and accessories. Margaret sorts through the mare. Carcassé. Taping only the essentials. Suddenly, her drawers aren't a black hole of forgotten technology. Unused office supplies. Margaret reaches for a pen, only to find that half of them don't even work. Meanwhile, stacks of sticky notes, dried-up markers, and empty notebooks clutter her desk. Pens that don't write, stacks of unused sticky notes. Keep only what you actually use. Test all your pens and markers. If they don't work, discard them. Keep only a reasonable amount of sticky notes, notebooks, and other office supplies. Donate excess supplies to schools or community centers. With a few simple changes, Margaret's office transforms from a chaotic paper trap into a clean, functional space. Decluttering isn't just about freeing up physical space. It's about clearing your mind. A clutter-free office means less stress, fewer distractions, and more time to focus on what matters most to you. With her office in order, Margaret feels lighter and more energized. But there's one last space where clutter loves to hide, and it's time to address it next. Let's head to the bathroom. Margaret moves to the bathroom, a small space that somehow manages to collect more clutter than any other room in the house. Expired medications, half-used toiletries, and stacks of old towels consume valuable space, while also posing potential safety risks. A clutter-free bathroom isn't just about organization. It's about safety, hygiene, and ease of use. Expired medications. Margaret checks her medicine cabinet and finds expired painkillers, old prescriptions, and half-empty bottles she'd forgotten about. Outdated medications can be ineffective or even harmful. Check expiration dates, discard anything expired, Dispose of medications safely. Never flush them down the toilet. Take them to a pharmacy or a designated disposal site. Keep only necessary medications, storing them in a labeled, easy-to-access container. Have you ever discovered a surprisingly old medication in your cabinet? Share your experiences in the comments. Half-used toiletries. Margaret finds half-empty shampoo bottles, dried-up lotions, and a collection of hotel soaps she'll never use. If something is just collecting dust, it's simply taking up valuable space. Toss expired or dried-out products. Use up half-full bottles before opening new ones. Donate unopened items to shelters if they're still in good condition. Margaret simplifies her routine, and suddenly her bathroom feels twice as spacious. Old towels. Margaret's linen closet is stuffed with frayed, stained and mismatched towels she never reaches for. Fresh, soft towels make daily routines more enjoyable. Keep only what you use regularly. Repurpose old towels for cleaning rags or pet bedding. Donate extras to animal shelters. With less clutter and improved organization, Margaret's bathroom now feels safe, fresh, and easy to navigate. Margaret takes a deep breath as she steps into the garage, the final frontier of her decluttering project. This space has become a repository for forgotten items, old tools, and sentimental things she finds hard to part with. But today, that changes. Decluttering the garage isn't just about creating more space. It's about regaining control over what's truly important. Broken or unused. Tools and gadgets. Margaret discovers a rusty drill, a box of tangled extension cords, and an old lawnmower that hasn't worked in years. She kept them thinking, I might need this someday. But the truth is, she never does. If something is broken and hasn't been repaired, it's time to let it go. If you have duplicates, keep only the one you use most often. Donate working tools to community programs or local repair shops. Margaret realizes that holding on to things just in case is really just postponing the inevitable. What's one tool or gadget in your garage that's currently gathering dust? Share your thoughts in the comments. Sentimental clutter. Keep the memories, not the stuff. Margaret reaches the most challenging part. Boxes filled with old gifts, childhood toys, and keepsakes from loved ones. She's holding onto a stack of birthday cards, an old wedding dress, and her children's artwork from decades ago. She wonders, if I get rid of this, am I letting go of the memories? But then she reminds herself, memories aren't contained within objects. They reside in her heart. Keep a few truly meaningful items. Digitize letters, photos, or artwork to preserve the memories without the clutter. Pass sentimental items on to family members who would appreciate them. Margaret carefully selects a few treasures to keep and releases the rest, understanding that she isn't losing anything. She's gaining space, freedom, and peace of mind. Margaret stands in her living room, taking it all in. The clutter is gone. The space feels open, calm, and inviting. Gone are the piles of newspapers, the extra furniture that no one used, and the stacks of forgotten trinkets. Now, every item in her home has a purpose. She walks into the kitchen. No more expired food, mismatched containers, or overcrowded drawers. Cooking feels simple and enjoyable again. In the bedroom, her closet holds only clothes she loves, and her bed is made with fresh, comfortable sheets. It's finally the restful retreat she's always wanted. And most importantly, Margaret feels lighter and more at peace. She realizes that decluttering isn't just about getting rid of things. It's about creating space for tranquility, for clarity, and for a home that truly feels like home again. Small changes lead to significant transformations. Less clutter translates to more freedom. A peaceful home begins with one small decision: letting go. Which room in your home would you most like to declutter first? Share your preferences in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and share it with a friend who could use a fresh start.